Hello, you're welcome to FinInvest Niger. My name is Tom Princeville. I'm a certified investment and security specialist, and I've been investing for the past 20 years. In the course of this video, I want to highlight the fundamentals or the financials of these three companies in the construction sector of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The companies here are BUA Cement, Lafarge WAPCO, as well as some Dangote Cement PLC. So I want to highlight precisely the nature of their finances or financials and see their suitability for investments. Number one here is BUA Cement. The share price of BUA Cement is 183 naira. 183 naira, and the market capitalization is 6.2 trillion. 6.2 trillion naira. It simply means the market price of the company multiplied by the number of shares outstanding. That will give you the market capitalization of the company, and this market cap gives us an idea of how big or how small the company is. So in this instance, the company is 6.2 trillion naira in market cap. That means it is a mega cap company. It's a large cap company. And so let's look at the earnings. The turnover here as at third quarter of last year, third quarter of last year, as well as on third quarter of 2024. So as of 2024, the company made a turnover of 583 billion naira. 583 billion naira was the turnover. Then in 2025, the company recorded 859 billion naira as turnover. So the turnover increased from 583 billion to 859 billion naira. That is the turnover as indicated here. We now come to the profit. The profits climbed tremendously. The profits here jumped from 49.8 billion to 290 billion. That was the profit increase. The profit growth in BUA Cement, the growth here is quite tremendous. And we want to also examine the earnings per share. So earnings per share simply means the net profit of the company divided by the number of shares outstanding. So in this case, we had the figure for 2024 was 1 naira 45 kobo. 1 naira 45 kobo. Then for 2025, the figure increased to 8 naira 56 kobo. Imagine the level of increase, the level of growth from 1 naira 45 kobo to as high as 8 naira 56 kobo. What a tremendous level of increase. And then the PE ratio here, that's the price earning ratio. Essentially, it means the price of the stock divided by its earnings per share. So in this case, the PE ratio is 21.38%, or rather 21.38 is the PE ratio. 21.38 is the PE ratio. The PE ratio essentially tells you how expensive or cheap the stock is. So in this case, compared to other companies in the same sector here, this company appears a little bit more expensive than these ones. But considering the fact that it has accumulated a higher level of growth, so the PE ratio here is still okay. It's still a cheap company. It's still cheap considering its level of growth. Now we want to highlight Lafarge WAPCO. Lafarge WAPCO is also a cement company. It's a big player in the cement sector. The share price is 157 naira. 157 naira, and the market cap here is 2.5 trillion. 2.5 trillion naira, though not as big as BUA Cement. So let's look at the other fundamental parameters of the company. So the revenue here, the third quarter revenue here, as at 2024, the amount was 479 billion naira. 479 billion naira. Then, as at last year, 2025, the figure jumped to the sales, the revenue jumped to 780 billion naira, from 479 billion to 780 billion naira. So in this case, the company increased, there was an increased volume in sales, a tremendous increase in sales. Now, we now come to the profit section. The company made a profit of 60.1 billion naira in 2024, 60.1 billion naira in 2024. Then in 2025, the amount increased from 60 to 208 billion naira, from 60 to 208 billion naira. Okay, and now the increment here is quite remarkable. We now come to the earnings per share here. The earning per share rose from 3 naira 73 kobo to 12 naira 90 kobo. Generally, whenever there's a huge increase in profits, it will certainly translate to a huge increase in earnings per share, because earning per share essentially, told us earlier, is the profits all over the number of shares outstanding. So increase in profit will then translate to increase in earning per share, as we observe here. The earnings per share here rose from 3 naira 73 kobo to 12 naira 90 kobo, and then the PE ratio here is 12.17. It's very cheap compared to the kind of returns the company had made. So it's it's relatively very cheap. Look at the PE ratio is as simple as just a small, value, a low single digit value, which is 12.17. We now come to the Dangote Cement. For Dangote Cement, it has the highest price here, 633 naira. That's the current share price, 633 naira. And the market cap is as big as 1.7 trillion naira. It's a very big company. Please, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you've not done that. Like this video and share it to people around you, so that we can reach out to 1 million Nigerians with this message of unlocking wealth in the Nigerian stock markets. So I'm counting on you. I'm depending on you. Please, and try and subscribe. It doesn't really cost you anything. Now, the revenue here is 2.56 trillion in 2024. They're making money. They're making money in trillions. All right, that's why Dangote is the richest man in Africa. Look at the kind of revenue they're making in one of his companies. Other companies are there, like NASCON, which of course I'm going to analyze later. Is also part of the Dangote group. That's why the man is rich. So the company made a turnover of 2.56 trillion naira as at 2024. Then in 2025, the price, the turnover increased to 3.15 trillion. 3.15 trillion. Now let's look at the profit. Now, this particular column will wow you. Imagine the profit of it recorded a profit of 279 billion naira in 2024. 279 billion in 2024. Then in 2025, the amount increased to 743 billion naira. Go Dangote. It's very impressive, actually. So the earning per share jumped from 16 naira 55 kobo to 43 naira 82 kobo. Though not the increment isn't as drastic as these ones. All right, these other ones, but all the same, the company did very, very well. Okay, and then the PE ratio is 14.49. So these are fantastic companies that I will advise you invest in for the long run, because you get your regular dividends, and all things being equal, as the company, as the company performance keeps improving, you also record capital gains as well. So these are fantastic companies, high cap companies, well-run companies with a solid fundamentals and fortress balance sheet. Please consider these companies. You could put it, in your invest. You can put them in your investment portfolio.